Good evening, Paul Cooney here on Transfer Deadline Day. 5 hours, 55 minutes to go. I was speechless at the start. The transfer deadline coming in a few hours. It's 7 o'clock in England, 11 o'clock here in Scotland. The latest news, the Lorient forward Joel Mvuka, he's 23, he's about to join Celtic in a £4 million deal, and a verbal agreement has been reached for the Freiburg striker Junior Adamu, who's 24. At Rangers, Hansa Rostock forward Ryan Naderi is having a medical in Manchester. Rangers have improved the offer for the 22-year-old who's playing in Germany. With us tonight, a man who was the subject of a few transfer deadline day moves. I'm not sure if you were. Charlie Mulgrew. Charlie, welcome back.
Great to be back, Paul. Wasn't involved in many transfer deadline. Well, same for Blackburn transfer deadline.
That's right, yeah.
No many bids getting made for me. It was frees I went for. I was only worth taking a free.
There's still time. And Mark Guidi is with us. As you can see, he's checking if you're watching on YouTube, because everyone will be calling Mark to say, I have signed on the dotted line. After a weekend when Hearts extended their lead and then Rangers slipped up, they drew at Hibs, and Celtic, that 2-0 win against Falkirk means they leapfrog Rangers. There's virtually nothing in it, just a goal between the big two at the top of the table. Hearts on 54 points. Celtic and Rangers on 48. And what about Motherwell? Now on 43 points. 08, 08, 17, 17, 700. Mark, transfer deadline day. Celtic has been really quiet, but it looks as though we've got Martin O'Neill speaking about these two players who look to be on their way in, but still no official confirmation.
Yeah, I think that the deals are very, very close, Paul. It's just sometimes it can be little sort of niggles at some ends, and then the clubs have got to agree when they announce it, and sometimes that's a chain as well when it suits who you're announcing and when you announce it. But I'm expecting that both those deals will go through. I think there's still a couple to leave Celtic Park, and I think Celtic might sign two more. Might end up with 4 signing at Celtic Park tonight.
One of them a defender?
We'll see how it goes over the next hour or two, but I think
Okay.
I think there'll be 4 today.
Okay.
The 2 that are already mentioned and another 2.
Charlie, 4 coming into your old club.
Yeah, I would like to see a midfielder and a centre half in that 4 if possible. I didn't think it would have been 4, so it's good to hear that, encouraging to hear that. I thought it would have been 2. At the most 3, but 4 would be 4, depending on the level of the player, which we won't know would be a successful window. That would be 6 all in. So,
and at your old club, they've been offered. We hear the latest is 20 million plus 5 million on add-ons for Arie Engels. I mean, he's criticised so often. He's a big part of the team now under Martin O'Neill. But are you surprised that they're going to keep him rather than take the 25 million?
I would take the money, considering he's come in for 11 million and he's not exactly been outstanding. I don't know how much you eventually think you might get from him. I understand that he's one of the 3 midfielders that Martin O'Neill wants to play in the team. He's a starter, plays ahead of Hitati, but I just think for that money, I don't think he offers enough. I don't think his goals tally. I'd be saying the same about Nygren, only he's obviously scoring goals and he brings that to the table. Engels is not bringing that to the table. He's got a top-class delivery of the ball. I think he can be a good player. I just think for this title fight, I thought at Tynecastle that stays in my mind. I thought he got bullied a lot in that game. I think for a player of that so-called quality and with that price tag, you're expecting a lot more from him in the big games. So I think that if I was Celtic and in charge, I'd be taking that money, but surely you would then have a contingency plan in terms of I would go and get Mulligan for Hibs. I think he's a good player. I think he reminds me a wee bit of John McGinn in terms of not brilliant technically, good technically, but not amazing technically, but he's got that fight and he's very effective. So I think, although he's injured just now, I would go and get him. You'd get him for a decent price.
Well, could that happen in the next couple of hours, do you think? Josh Mulligan, or if the injury precludes that, if he's not going to play?
I'd be very surprised, but I'd be delighted to see that.
Mark, where do you stand on that? Arie Engels, clearly Sean Dyche wants him. Marinakis has opened up the chequebook again. 25 million on the table for him.
It's an exceptional price, Paul, and I think under normal circumstances it fits perfectly with Celtic's trading model. Yep. However, how would the Celtic fans react to yet another player being sold when so far nobody has been bought? Now, the two loan signings have been really good. Arojo and Vanchara, you can see what they're bringing to the table. Vanchara scoring a lovely header yesterday. But it could well be there's maybe another midfielder heading out the door ahead of Engels. And therefore, for all his critics, and I would probably say 75% of Celtic fans would say take the money. But for all his critics, he does start every game. He's composed, he's a technical player. I think you could get the same again, if not more, in the summer. So Celtic will have a decision to make if they don't sell him today in the summer, because they have 2 years to go. So you either fatten him up and give him a new contract, or you move him on. So I think Celtic will know that they'll still get their money for him in the summer. And Martin O'Neill has challenged the player to give him more, to be braver, and I think he's stepping up to that. So I wouldn't be in a rush to sell Engels, but I totally understand that kind of money, it might be too good to turn down. On the other hand, Paul, though, who have you got to come in? Have they got a couple of really, really good midfielders, technical midfielders that are going to settle in quickly to come in and do a job?
If someone is leaving soon from the midfield, could it be Röhl Hitati? Because how do you feel he's played this season, Charlie?
He's had these moments where he's been decent, but you just get the feeling that he's not 100% in it. He feels that he's got one foot out the door, whether he didn't get a move in the summer that we don't know about, or whether he's just ran its course and he wants to move on. But yeah, I don't feel like he's fully baked. So if a bid came in for him, he'd be somebody you would definitely look to let go. But if somebody doesn't want to be in the building and not willing to fight for the cause, then they definitely have to go. But whether a bid comes in for him or not is yet to be seen.
Because you've only got 14 games remaining now, and Hearts are still out there. They're not slipping up. Mark, any thoughts on Hitati maybe going?
If it was me, Paul, and something came in for Hitati, I would let Hitati go before I would let Engels go. That said, I know you're not going to get 20 million quid for Hitati, but I agree with Charlie. It looks as if he's kind of checked out. I think he's been a fantastic servant for 2 million quid or whatever he costs, 3 million quid, 3.5, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. He's been great, but they should have moved him on in the summer. They should have moved Maida on in the summer. That was the optimum time. But yeah, Hitati, I think this season he's been a big disappointment, and I don't think he'd be a great miss if Celtic sold him today.
Rangers fans, what are you thinking? You got off to a flyer with 3 big signings a few weeks ago, but firing blanks yesterday. Chermiti, Miofsky, 0-0 against Hibs, and Hibs probably the better opportunities. Andy was on earlier, a Rangers fan, saying that the rank rotten yesterday, just not good enough. Now, it was 8 on the bounce, league-wise for Rangers, but it halted yesterday. So it looks as though, Mark, the Hansa Rostock forward, Ryan Naderi, they don't want to lose him just now, but it looks as though Rangers are upping the money. The medical today in Manchester.
Yeah, Rangers are flexing their muscles. It's one clearly that Danny Röhl wants to get over the line. They've been linked with 2 or 3 other strikers, but this is Danny Röhl's preferred target, and Rangers have not walked away from it. They've persisted on it. They've just kept nibbling away at Hansa Rostock. It's obviously clear that Naderi wants to come, and it would give something different to the Rangers forward line. Daniel's in Holland. It looks like he's going to go back there. So there's a bit of movement happening at Rangers, and what happened yesterday will only increase Danny Röhl's determination to get Naderi over the line today.
Yeah, I think Rangers need a striker, or definitely more creative players in the final third. Yesterday, Asgard non-existent, Chermiti non-existent, Olsen did nothing in the game, Gassama offered nothing, very little. So they need a striker, and I would say also a number 10. I don't think Asgard is the answer for Rangers. He's nowhere near creating enough. He doesn't look like he's going to create. Rangers need forward players in the forward area if they want to go and sort of create and score goals and try and challenge for this title.
And Charlie, as you know, they went in there second top of the table, only 4 points behind Hearts in a season. You know, as a player recently, would you not be thinking, 15 games to go at that point, let's go out and win here against Hibs?
Well, that's what I was surprised at, the intensity of Gassama, Olsen, Asgard. Give me the ball and let me go and create something. I just feel like they're blasé and sort of, they're never... Hibs created 3 or 4 like gilt-edged opportunities. Hibs deserved to win the game. Rangers offered nothing. I think Fernandes had a header that he missed. Completely missed the ball. And apart from that, Rangers offered nothing.
I know Mikey Moore had the ball in the back of the net, but I see it was offside. I saw on Sky before coming out that they're talking about Mikey Moore down there. Could that be an end of the loan? I don't think it's happening. It was speculation, but they had someone just outside the training ground, and they were talking about him. He could offer something different for Tottenham.
Well, Rangers are, when he came on yesterday, he made a difference.
Yeah.
So they're heavily relying on him just now. He looks, all of a sudden, he went for, when I first saw him, I thought he looked like a wee boy. He was awful young. He came into a club like Rangers and make a big impact. But I think, just you can look at him in recent times, especially under Danny Röhl, he came on yesterday and made a big difference. He looked intense. He made runs in behind. He looked like he wanted to go and create something. He scores the goals. Unlucky, just offside. But he offered a lot more than any forward players in the Rangers team did up to that point.
Arsenal in for a couple of younger players in Scotland, Mark, so they're not in the first team, but we know James Wilson well, Scotland cap at Hearts, but not playing recently, and a young St Mirren player as well, attracting the Gunners.
Yeah, Evan Mooney, who's been in and around the first team for about 18 months, teenager, very, very highly thought of in and around Paisley and clearly beyond. You know what a feather in the cap that is for even Arsenal to register an interest. Their scouting team up here, and James Wilson, I've championed him in the show for a long time now, Paul. I thought he might have featured more for Hearts this season, especially then with Lon Shankland getting injury, but I thought as well he could be a part of the Scotland World Cup squad this summer. So Arsenal clearly see something in him, and I'd be surprised if Hearts sold him, because I can see him like being a successor to Shankland. I think he's got so much to offer, unless Arsenal are going to come in with crazy money. But Wilson's a striker I really, really like, and I'm not surprised there's interest in him.
Charlie, 14 games for them and they could win the title. Would you sell young James Wilson?
It just depends where you see him in the pecking order. He's not started any games that I can remember. He's come off the bench now and again. If Shankland's fit, he's probably third choice striker. Just depends how much Arsenal are offering in comparison to how they rate him. I think he's a good player and he's a prospect and somebody that could eventually play for Hearts. But if Arsenal come calling and they want him, then I think that if your third choice striker has a chance to make some money, I think Hearts would probably take it. 08
17 17 700, your only chance to speak to Charlie Mulgrew tonight and Mark Guidi, unless a better offer comes in the next few minutes. Charlie's back after playing in Austria, and you were skiing as well. You're on thin ice, but it's great to see you back. We've not seen you for weeks. Colin's on WhatsApp here saying, "Hi guys, if Engels is worth 25 million, how much is Raskin worth? What do you feel, Charlie?"
That's a good point.
Yeah.
For me, Raskin at the moment is a better player. He looks like the Rangers player that's going to create and make something happen. And sometimes he tries to do too much. He's trying to be everywhere, but technically, I would say Engels is probably a better striker of the ball and a better delivery of the ball and slightly better passer, but all-round game, that's just a small part of the game. I think all-round game, Raskin's a much better player. He plays ahead of him in the Belgian team. So if that's what the price is, then you wonder why there's been no bids for Raskin at that price.
And Mark, what do you think on that? Because we thought there would be bids for Raskin, but it hasn't been mentioned, and the transfer window slams shut 5.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, Gassama's had a bit of interest. Chermiti has had a bit of interest, and Rangers will be almost there'll be a bit of jealousy when they see Celtic are knocking back upwards of 20 million for a player, because that's the model that Rangers want. And at some point, Rangers need to start creating it. They're certainly spending money, but you actually need to start bringing money in as well. And Rangers will want to create that type of player. So it's a credit to Engels, it's a credit to the Celtic scouting team, and it's a credit to Brendan Rodgers, because I take it wouldn't have been easy to persuade Celtic to spend £11 million a record signing in one player. And I think technically he was superb. He's a Belgian internationalist. For me, Paul, I've championed him too. A lot of people have gone against him, and I understand why. He could do more. I get that. But for me, for the European game, and I can see why Nottingham Forest are interested, he's technically a very good player. And say Nottingham Forest did get him for 20 million, he's the kind of player that they could sell for 30 or 40 probably 2 years down the line.
Of course, we're going to go on the lines in a second or two. Let's hear from the managers. Martin and Neil speaking about the two incoming players, Mvuka and Adamu.
Yeah, I think they've either done their medicals or are about to do them. So that helps us a little bit, as much as anything else. You never know, there might be something else before Monday evening. Is it 11 o'clock, is it? Monday evening. And then you won't be able to ask me on Tuesday, which will be the biggest relief of all time. But it's always been the same, so it's not a problem.
Charlie, do you remember Columbo on the telly? The reruns? Or you don't?
No.
Mark, it's a bit like Columbo. He knows the
Peter
answer.
Falk.
He knows the answer, doesn't he? You can tell. It's at 11 o'clock tomorrow night. He knows it is. So, 2 in probably, and maybe 2 more between now and 11 o'clock. And for Rangers, Danny Röhl was asked yesterday, so firing blanks yesterday against Hibs, could that change your aspirations and your delivery in the next 24 hours for the window?
Yeah, general. I think I have a clear picture on my mind. I saw a group who's growing and growing together. And what I not will do today after this draw to make everything very dark. I think this is also part. This race is an exciting one. We are still in the race, what no one expected a couple of weeks ago. And with this, I go with my group.
So, Danny Röhl speaking after the 0-0 yesterday. Mark's on, a big Celtic fan, and he's got a point about Engels. I'll tell you in a moment or two. But let's hear Josh, who's on the line. Hi, Josh. Good evening.
All right, Paul. All right, Mark. All right, Charlie.
Yeah,
All right,
Josh.
good.
Josh.
Excitement here with the window. What about you?
100%. So I actually want to touch on last night's game between Rangers and Celtic in the women's game.
Okay.
3-3 after extra time, went to penalties.
Yep, did.
Great
Yep.
advert for the women's game. I thought Poppy Pritchard, who's come in for Celtic on loan, was my player of the match.
All right.
She held the ball up well, did all the dirty work, scored, laid on a couple of goals with the hold-up play. Rangers had some great team performances as well across the board. So as far as an advert goes for the women's game, it was pleasing to see. For the semi-final was on BBC Alaba as well, which gives you that exposure. So that's kind of where I wanted to start the discussion, was with that really.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a brilliant advert for the women's game, and more games like that. It was an absolute thriller. You're absolutely right, Josh, and I hope they promote it so that people know where to look for it on a Sunday afternoon and a Sunday evening. What about the window? What do you reckon? So Celtic finally today, looks as though 2 of them are on the way in, and I hear Mark saying, look out for 2 more.
Yeah, so just to try and set the scene for you, I'm in Blackpool tonight watching. I'm at an evening with Harry Redknapp, and he was the king of the last-minute transfer deadline day deals. So, question for the lads over the course of Mark, your journalism career, maybe. What's the weirdest transfer or the most surprising transfer that you've seen on deadline day in terms of coverage of it and the press attention that it got? Maybe.
Oh, you've put me in the spot. Josh, deadline day transfer.
Do you remember the boy turned up at QPR?
That's right.
I was trying to think
remember that?
Pierre,
Yeah.
Odin Wingy.
He did.
Odin Wingy.
And what happened then? He got
Harry.
See you later, mate.
He got a custard pie, didn't he?
He thought he'd be signing. He actually thought he could just turn up there and they would sign him. Wow.
He's worse than you.
That's mental,
Just
isn't it?
turns up.
What? I can
What do you
think of 2 that never really worked, but were really high profile.
Yep.
Robbie Keane for Celtic,
Yes.
who came in on loan under Tony Mowbray.
Yep.
And I think he's made his debut at Rugby Park, and Celtic really had to win to stay in the title race, and they lost. And it was almost over after one game for Robbie Keane. And Aaron Ramsey at Rangers, who was a high-profile loan signing, missed the penalty kick in the Europa League final, but never really get going either. And Rangers got him on loan from Juventus. So there's 2 that could have sprung to mind, sort of really big names, Josh, and it never worked out. I'll try and think of 1 or 2 success
Was
stories.
Craig Bellamy the last day? I'm sure Craig Bellamy under Martin O'Neill when I was...
From Newcastle.
I'm sure he was last minute, and obviously look how successful he was. So hopefully Martin O'Neill can pull one of them out tonight.
Did Celtic not? Was that the 2005 season?
Yeah,
Craig
they
Bellamy,
lost the
wasn't
title
it?
the
It was
last day,
the helicopter Sunday. Well, Josh, I mean, listen, you're a great proponent there of the women's game, and we do need to hear and see more of that because it is tough for the women to make ends meet these days. Things are really difficult, and the more people who get out to watch the matches, then the better. Harry Redknapp, I kind of spoke to him a few times over the years. What a character. Charlie, did you ever come up against him? Did he ever try and sign you?
No, I never did any dealings with Harry Redknapp at all. I loved him on Celebrity. I'm a Celebrity in the Jungle.
He was great, wasn't he?
Brilliant,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
He was always
really good.
Talking about the missus. Mark, you must have come up against Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, went down to see him a couple of times when he was at West Ham. We came up to do John Hartson's golf day 4 or 5 years ago. A pleasure to deal with. Really good guy, and he was a deal maker. He was the king of the deals. He was first class.
Let's hope there's more tonight. Josh, thank you so much for your call. Deadline day, and listen, somebody tonight with Scottish Gas could win £500. We've got a quiz in the second hour. You don't want to miss it, and it could be you winning £500. We're back after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Paul Cooney here, living the dream with Mark Guidi and Charlie Mulgrew, where we couldn't, the budget couldn't stretch to Jim White tonight on transfer deadline day, but brilliant to have you two here with us this evening. Headlines tonight: Rangers in for the Hansa Rostock striker Ryan Naderi. Looks as though they've increased their offer for the 22-year-old, and he's coming in. And Charlie, you'd have to say, with yesterday's performance, it's not just down to the striker, the lack of attempts on goals. I think Hibs had 6, Rangers just had 2.
Yeah, it'd be easy to start having a go at Chermiti. I'm not saying he was great in the game, but there was not a lot of opportunities for him. Asgard, Gassama, Olsen, they didn't show enough desire for me to go and create and make things happen. And if you were asking them, they could probably say, did they get enough service, did they have the ball? But you've got to make sure your teammates give you the ball. It's aggression to make sure you get it and then go and make something happen. I was expecting more from Olsen yesterday. I thought it's his second game. Let's see you go and create, go and have that desire to make something happen. I didn't see any of that for Rangers, and so bringing a striker in, it's not just down to the striker. There needs to be more than that creativity around about him.
Couple of things coming in. Falkirk, they've signed an attacker, Ben Grosjean, on loan from Aston Villa. And, I mean, the manager was speaking about getting somebody in, Mark, yesterday, wasn't he? You could see that they did well, but lacking a wee bit of firepower.
Grosjean's very highly rated at Villa. Paul's trained with the first team in and around the first team squads and stuff. So, yeah, that's a good one for John McGunn to get in.
Hearts, James Wilson, we've been speaking about him. He's likely to go to London, but to Tottenham on loan rather than Arsenal. That's the latest. It's not confirmed yet, but he would join Spurs under-21 squad. So, Charlie, you said he's not getting any game time, so are you better down with Spurs under-21s?
No, to be honest, I don't think you are. I think you're probably better being third striker at Hearts and maybe waiting for an opportunity. But then again, if they accept the bid and they give you a lot of money, then that's a different story, because then he could potentially go on loan from there. But to move to an under-21 squad when you're already in the fringes of your first team, I can understand it because money talks, but at the same time, as a career move, you'd think he'd be better off staying at Hearts.
Mark?
For me, if you leave Hearts to join an under-21 team, then you're killing your World Cup chances.
Sure.
So go somewhere, go to Falkirk and go and play. Go somewhere else where you can go and try and bang in a few goals and get first team games and get yourself back in Steve Clark's island. I find that one very surprising.
Here's Mark on from Westburn, a Celtic fan, saying, hi Paul, hi Charlie, hi Mark. Celtic, crazy to turn down that kind of money, up to 25 million for Engels. If Celtic was a well-run club, we would sell at 25 million and already have his replacement. Another point, it shows that this proves the board and the way the club is run is not fit for purpose. So that's Mark. Season ticket holder, goes home and away, and he goes abroad.
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to get at here, that you can understand why Martin O'Neill doesn't want to let him go, because it's not as if it's like there's 25 million and here's Mulligan or somebody else there that I'm not in the scouting department, so I can't start naming names, but there's somebody right there that we can get for 6. It's like he's away, but you would need to start now to try and get somebody, unless they do have somebody lined up. But I think a well-run club should have these things in place. I mean, you look at what Brighton do down south. They've already got somebody. Before there was Billy Gilmore, they'd somebody lined up coming behind that, ready to contingency plan to just move forward and have these players and move them on. But maybe they do. You might, by the end of this window, Mulligan might be sitting there. There might be somebody sitting there. I think Celtic could be doing with some Scottish players as well. I think that core of Scottish coming in Celtic and Rangers is very important.
Mark, what do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I get Mark, what Mark's saying there in terms of his comments, but let's be honest, it's no great surprise now. What Celtic have been doing for the past 29 or 30 days since Martin O'Neill went back is off the cuff. There's not been a succession planning there. That is just part of the problem. And this is not new. This is not exclusive to this window. This has happened the last 2 windows. So there is clearly a structural problem behind the scenes and how they go about their business, and it's something that will have to be corrected. So listen, Martin O'Neill and his staff and the players at the moment are covering up a multitude of sins behind the scenes in terms of the structure of the club and having, you know, that succession planning in place, and it's something that will need to be addressed sooner rather than later, but certainly in time. If there's a structural change at the club, if Martin O'Neill does go, there's a new manager, a director of football, sporting director, whatever you want to call them, they need to start putting things in place properly, because you can't keep flying by the seat of your pants.
Although in some ways, some Celtic fans will say you can never let Martin O'Neill go. At the moment, he's the glue holding that club together.
Absolutely. Oh, he is, Paul, 100%. You know, another win yesterday, another clean sheet. I think that's 8 wins out of 9 in the league, or 9 out of 10 that he's had in the draw at Tynecastle. So yes, he's been exceptional. You know, I think there was a lot of chance against the board from the crowd yesterday, but Martin O'Neill certainly managed to, what he's done is managed to curtail things, try and keep a kind of lid on things and focus on the football. Yeah, but I've said many times in this show, if Celtic win the league, I think he would be offered the job on a permanent basis. Whether he would want to accept it or not, I don't know. But when you have him in the building, you don't let Martin O'Neill go. Yeah. You find something for him that suits him, because they let him go in December, and it backfired spectacularly. Don't make the same mistake again.
Loads of calls coming in. Charlie, you love some calls. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go. First up, it's going to be Paul, the Rangers fan. Hi, Paul. You're right through. Good evening. Good to have you. Paul, what's your point tonight?
My point is, I disagree with Mark. I want Celtic to make a mistake and let Martin O'Neill go. That's just a wee bit of coming.
Indeed,
right? Just about the game yesterday, I know there'll be a lot of Rangers fans disappointed. Do you know what? I actually think Hibs were due something. I mean, they went through a wee bit of a bad spell. I think maybe last year or the year before, we could have went out Easter Road with no points. So I'm not too fussed getting the 1 point, Paul, because it keeps us in there. But I just want to say, see the guy, what the guys think. See the guy, Chukwani was saying.
Yeah.
I thought he was outstanding. He broke up a lot of play. I thought he did quite a bit of the dirty work, and I thought he was outstanding. I don't know what the guys think.
Yeah, Charlie?
I didn't think he was outstanding. I thought he was decent. He was decent enough in the first half, kept things ticking over, moved the ball. Yeah, he looks like he's going to be a good player for Rangers in that sort of holding midfield role with Raskin, especially the fact that Raskin goes wandering quite a lot. He holds the centre of the pitch well, and he moves the ball pretty steady. Strong boy, gets in and breaks up play now and again. Yeah, he looked pretty good yesterday, and I think he'll only get better.
Mark, we've seen him in Europe, and we know he can play. He's effective, Chukwani.
Yeah, he's a really good player, and he would probably get more plaudits had Rangers won the game yesterday. You know, I get that Chukwani's a really good sign. I think at £3 million, it'll be money well spent. But I think what comes out of me from yesterday, Paul, is that Rangers have also been on a really good run, a lot of clean sheets, but I'm sure in a lot of the games they haven't played particularly well, but they've found a way to win, which is a plus point. However, you can't go through, you can't become champions by doing that at points. You need to play well. I think it's also a sign as well that the Rangers are too reliant on set pieces and have been. Again, there's nothing wrong with being good at set pieces. I get that, and it's a major weapon to have in your armoury to be able to do that. But you have to find other ways to win as well. And I think that's why Danny Röhl is so desperate to get Naderi in. I think he sees Naderi as a missing piece of the jigsaw in terms of having that number 9. I said at the start of the window, as much as I think Hearts are favourites to win the title, the success story of the season could be who gets the best number 9 in between Celtic and Rangers. And the Hearts have lost their best number 9, Shanklin. Yeah. Celtic have brought in Westy Vanchara, who got a great goal yesterday and assist last week. And Rangers, I still think, need to bring someone in. And it'll be, I think it's Danny Röhl's wish to get Naderi over the line.
This was Danny Röhl at the end of the game yesterday.
Yeah, you always want to win games, but it was exactly the expected tough game today. Opponent with physical intensity. I think it was the game what we expect. In the end, I take the point today. Also some moments for Hibs where they can score. That's football. We have to carry on. It's about the next game, and this is on Wednesday.
Paul, so who's had the better transfer window, do you think? Hearts, Celtic or Rangers?
I think if we get I totally agree with Mark saying there, the final piece of the jigsaw is a number 9. crying out for that, Paul. If you get that, I think we'll have a decent January transfer window. I was a wee bit miffed by Scott Bolton. I mean, I don't know the guy. I never tracked his history or anything, but from what I heard about a lot of fans and pundits and that, is the guy's a Danish internationalist, 40 caps, blah blah blah. He didn't play that well yesterday. So he's going to have to step his game up. But if we get a good number 9, Paul, I think we could have a strong transfer window.
Yep, certainly we're off to a flyer. The manager spoke about Skov Olsen last night.
Yeah, step by step. I think this is generally the part in January when you take players, you have to bring them into. You have not really time. Then he was available today, but not in the European League. It would also helpful for him. But I see he's come better and better. He will be physical ready more and more. And I'm very positive.
Paul, 14 games to go. Thanks so much for your call. 0808 17 17 700. More news coming in. Bolton reportedly interested in Johnny Kenny, Charlie, around £500,000 deal. So that would be an actual sale.
Yeah, well, I think that it's time for Johnny Kenny to either go on loan or move on. He's had a loan move already, but maybe time for Johnny Kenny to move on, depending on what strikers finally get over the line at Celtic.
Here's Michael on the line in Liverpool. Hi, Michael. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Paul. Good evening, Charlie. Good evening, Mark.
All right, Michael.
Basically, I would take the money for Engels, and you know why? It's because if they do that, right, guys, they could get the striker who's a proper number 9 from Bodo Glimt, and also get Maswanhise in.
All right.
But I would also let Balakisha go, and I would also sell Chermiti.
Well, you'd need to get money.
But see, with the money they would get from Engels sales, right, guys? They should get a centre half in as well, and that would make me happy. And a good midfielder like Silas Anderson, or other guys who have been linked with.
Hold a second, Michael. You've thrown quite a bit in there. So Hawk was spoken about Bodo Glimt last week. He scored again in the Champions League. Yeah. They're not going to sell him. Well, they're still in there, are they, Charlie? I wouldn't have thought.
No, they won't. If they're in the Champions League, it just depends how much Celtic are willing to spend. I can't see them going for that one, to be honest with you. But I do agree with Michael in terms of sell Engels. I've said it, and bring in a midfielder or potentially a centre back. I think that would be a priority if it was me.
Mark.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about Engels since the top of the show. Yeah. I get it. I get why Michael, and probably I would say 80 or 90% of Celtic fans would say take the money, because it'll pay for this window, even whatever it is they spend. They say it's 10 million they spend between now and 11 o'clock tonight, because so far they've not spent a penny. It's 2 loan deals. You're then almost funding the new manager's summer transfer window as well. So I get it, but the point I made was you'll get that money anyway for Engels in the summer. And with 15, 16 games to go, you're in Europe. You're going for a league title. You're going for a Scottish Cup. If it's me, I would sell Hitati before I sell Engels, albeit I know you're not going to get anywhere near 20 million quid for Hitati. But I can see the benefits of holding on to him, because it's not like he's in the last 6 months his deal. This is a take it or leave it. But he's got 2.5 years to go. They'll still get that money for him in the summer. I would keep him.
Charlie, Maswanhise. I mean, it looks as though they've got a striker coming in. We've been speaking about him since the top of the show. But the word is Motherwell not keen to sell Maswanhise. They got the money 6 months ago for Lennon Miller. Yep. But Maswanhise, another 2 goals again at the weekend, top scorer in the country.
Yeah, well, Martin O'Neill's been to see him, isn't he? So he must not fancy him if he doesn't bring him in by the end of the window. I quite like him. I think he could start as a backup at Celtic and potentially work his way into the team. But obviously, I've not seen the list of players that Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney and the staff are going through, so there must be better out there than Maswanhise.
Mark?
I think certainly Maswanhise's get admirers at Celtic. There's also 2 Serie A clubs who would take him. I think now probably, I think if Celtic had any encouragement from Motherwell, I think they would go all in. But I think that Motherwell don't need to sell. And I think too, if you're Motherwell, as you said, Paul, there, he's the top scorer in the country. Yeah. 2 different types of goals that he scored there on Saturday, and the win, 18 goals. Yeah. He's got a fantastic ton of pace. He's really, really fast as well. So if you're Motherwell, you've just seen Hibs sell Bowie for 6 million.
Sure.
Now, I know they're not the exact same types of player, but you get my drift.
Yeah.
They get 4.5 million for Lennon Miller because they stood firm, which is a credit to Motherwell. So I'm thinking unless somebody comes in the next 5 hours and offers 5 million for Maswanhise, Motherwell are keeping them. And I can totally understand why. But if the figure was slightly lower and you could throw 1 or 2 players into the mix, I'm sure Celtic would have taken them all day long.
Do you like the look of Chavanchara? Here's Martin O'Neill speaking about him after yesterday's goal.
I mean, it was great, and it was the breakthrough as well too, which was needed, and that's nice for him, and it'll give him a really big boost of confidence. There's parts of his game I think that obviously need tidying up, which I think he can do. He hasn't played much football in recent times, so that's 2 games for us. He makes the goal for us at Hearts. And I think at that stage he might have been the only player in our field who could have made that run at the time. And he's come in, he got the goal. So he's wanting to prove himself, and I think there's a player there.
Michael, a player there with Chavanchara, made a great goal last weekend against Hearts.
He's a good player, Paul. But I still think we need an out and out striker, bud. And I was going to say to you guys, I don't know what your opinion is, but my opinion is Matt O'Reilly was much, much better than Engels. He had a good, because I don't think Engels can't take a corner and he can't take a free kick, right? So I think Matt O'Reilly had a better ratio of goals than Engels has.
I think I heard Charlie agree there.
No, I think Matt O'Reilly's a much better player, all-round player. Right. But I do think Engels' strongest points, his wide free kicks and his corners. So Michael is a fan who obviously sees a lot of games. It's quite worrying that he doesn't think that's been up to scratch, which I can understand because he has got the potential to be a world-class deliverer of the ball. That's his main attribute for me. And he's just not doing it consistently enough for me. He's not brought enough assists, goals, or goal contributions. So that's why I would sell him.
What a week it's going to be, Michael. You've got Aberdeen in a couple of nights from now, but I guess for you sound a bit happier, a bit more hopeful tonight than you were a week ago.
Because I've been getting a bit headaches and stuff like that. But I don't think, I'm just going to scope one last point, guys. Yeah. I don't think Hearts are going to lose points. Okay. 3 points for them. 3 points for Rangers on Wednesday night against Kilmarnock. Right. Maybe they might Motherwell might give them a turnover, but I can't see Hearts. To be honest with you guys, I've actually gave up because I think Hearts are. This is all down to Nancy being appointed.
Oh, don't give up, Michael. You can't give up, man.
Charlie, give him a pep talk. Come on, Charlie Mulgrew, you're on.
Get a couple of paracetamol in you and get back on it.
Dr. Mulgrew.
Don't give up, mate. Come on,
I just
6
think
points.
The Hearts will not lose much points because they're too gritty.
What about the split when they play Motherwell? They need to play Celtic, they need to play Rangers. I don't think they'll split, lose points tomorrow night, but they'll. Surely there's big games to come.
Who do they play tomorrow night? Livingston?
No, they're away to St Mirren.
St Mirren tomorrow night. Michael, thank you so much.
Mirren.
Michael, you take it easy. Check with the doctor, not with Dr. Mulgrew here. He's going to. You're not a football doctor. That was what was his name? Paul Tisdale. Was he not a football doctor? We'll be back after the break.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
And Kevin is working with us tonight. Do you know what? He's worked with the biggest names in music. Mark, Charlie, I've got to tell you, we're privileged. He's worked with Simple Minds. I almost said, in fact, just about every Scottish band you can mention. Lewis Capaldi, Paolo Nutini, and he's working with us here tonight on the show, Charlie. So top notch.
Where is he?
He's behind the. He's in the control room there working. Yeah, nice. Biffy Clyro, another of your favourites, I would think. You like the Biffy?
No.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Charlie. Thanks for playing. I'll tell you, Barry, happy birthday, Barry. If he will be tuned in, it's his birthday today.
Yeah, it was a big day out on Saturday, wasn't it? Hope it all went well.
With the family.
Well looked after, yep.
Scott Cunningham, MBE's been on, wants to wish you all the best, Barry. And
definitely a Rangers cake Barry's got, isn't he?
Is it? Oh, do you think so?
Rangers cake, 100%.
We think it'll be
55 candles on it.
Edmundston Drive. I tried that one on Friday. He wasn't happy at all.
Oh, was he?
I'm not 55. 48. I said plus VAT. But no, 48. in great shape. How'd you go on football-wise, Charlie? Were you playing abroad?
We played a tournament in Munich against Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Real Madrid. We get beaten in 2 games. Bit of controversy though.
Yep.
Dortmund scored when the time was up, and then the last minute goal for Real Madrid. But we get beat anyway.
Who was the referee? Was it a Walsh, a Beaton?
There was some classic players
Clancy,
playing.
who-
Remember the Livvy who played with Juventus?
yeah.
He was playing.
What?
There
Still
was
a
few.
player? Yeah.
Well, the pitch was about the size of this table, so it wasn't much about mobility. It was more to do with sort of know-how and skill, I suppose. There was some good players playing. It was good tour, a very well-run tournament.
We've got how long to go? Under 5 hours till the end of the window in Scotland, and just over an hour and 9 minutes in England. Why are we a bit later, Mark? Is it because we can pick up maybe some scraps in Scotland? If you know the deals are done in England, maybe it gives us, 4 hours more?
Yeah. I mean, the longer it stays open. It used to be midnight, Paul,
Yeah,
if you remember.
sure.
So we brought it forward an hour. And as you know, as long as you register intent, even at a second to 11, as long as you get one bit of paperwork in, it allows you to go and just kind of finish things off. But I'm sure that the clubs would rather get their business done before that.
Headlines tonight. Rangers looks as though they haven't got him yet, but the striker from Hansa Rostock, Ryan Naderi, getting a medical in Manchester. 22-year-old, and you could see yesterday, Mark, Rangers do need firepower. I mean, last week they were saying that Chermiti, there was a bid in. I mean, it was reported to be around 10 million. Now, it was never confirmed. It was probably agents' talk. But see, if it was available, would you not maybe take that?
100%. You take that. 1,000,000%. I don't believe that. I just don't believe that happened. But if it did, Rangers should have took that. Again, though, they'll, similar to the Engels, that's one of their, they've got 1 or 2 strikers right now. So they're going to sell when they're trying to go for a title, but surely they could have reinvested that into somebody else. That's, I mean, what's Chermiti done apart from he scored 2 goals against Celtic? He's not really done much, and I know it's early days for him, but he's on a lot of money, and he get bought for a lot of money. So I can't see Rangers knocking. Was it 13 million it reported?
That's what they said. Yeah, I mean, one of these things, Mark, you can tell. During the transfer window, you can tell a story. I mean, Rangers didn't say it was on, but nobody discouraged it. But they talked about Gassama maybe going as well, and that was possible. But Chermiti, 12, 13 million.
There's transfer talk, and then there's actual transfers. And for me, that was absolute speculation. That's what that came across. As for me, however, the other way I would address the Chermiti situation, I think Danilo's the number one to get out the door. So they're probably been down the line with a deal, and I think, right, okay, Danilo can go. Chermiti, of course, he's been a big disappointment so far. 6 months, he's not really done a thing apart from the 2 goals, 2 very different types of goals at Celtic Park, and 2 very important goals. So maybe they thought they do see something in him that they can build on, that they can work with. However, Danilo's down the door. Let's get him out. And I can only imagine that they're thinking we need to get a number 9, and it's very, very clear that at the moment Rangers are going to struggle to really put teams away with the current forward line. And as Charlie said as well, and as Paul, the Rangers caller, earlier said, if they get a number 9, then they'll score goals, but you've got to create. So Scrivolson's got to step up. Gassama, I really like Gassama, but he sometimes he just doesn't deliver. Talk of him maybe going as well, and at some point Rangers need to fund what they're doing as well, Paul, in terms of a business model. So it'll be interesting to see. 4 or 5 hours to go, but the priority is getting Naderi in, and if they don't get Naderi in, I think it really will put a dampener on Rangers' title chances.
I see Cameron Archer has been mentioned. If they don't get Naderi, could he be coming on loan from Southampton? But they're also watching to see Adam Armstrong set to leave St Mary's for Wolves. So it's always, isn't it? It's a domino effect, Charlie. You've seen it so often.
Yeah, I played with Adam at Blackburn.
Oh, what did you make of him?
He's a small striker, very quick, left-footed, good finisher. So I can understand why Wolves would want to try and get him in, because he's a type of player that if they do go down, he can offer something in the Premier League, but he's more of a Championship top striker in the Championship. If they do go down, he would be the their main striker and somebody that could propel them maybe back up to the Premiership. He's a real good player and a good boy as well, good lad.
Rangers talking about the need for creativity. The manager addressed that after the 0-0 draw.
I think the part, especially first half, we start very controlled, but then we miss the moment where we bring more bodies around and into the box. Sometimes we come really good behind the last line. And then after 25 minutes, we felt comfortable on the ball, but without outcome. Yeah, I think that was then a topic in the halftime. We tried to change this in the second half more, and then finally, the last 10 minutes, I think there was a lot up and down for both teams. Both teams tried to win this game, and then in the end, they take the point today.
So an hour later, Celtic playing their game against Falkirk, a 2-0 win. Martin O'Neill afterwards.
Tough game, big win. You've summed it, absolutely. Yeah, I was really concerned about the game beforehand. Big exertions on Thursday evening. Just wondering about the I suppose the energy levels as much as anything else. And I think obviously Falkirk, really good side, really good team. Believe it or not, I think the manager's been fantastic. How he's assembled the side who can play, and I mean obviously I don't think after that you would have wanted to play at Hearts or Rangers, but outside that there, Falkirk was not the team on Sunday I would have been wanting to play, even at home. But we conjured up a win. We got the 2 goals, and there was periods of the game where we did really well, and there was periods where we didn't have the ball. But it was great to win, and I think it was an important win, obviously, because we have to hang in there.
Charlie, what did you make of it? Chara scoring and Negrin, top scorer.
Yeah, it's always dangerous after Europa League games, just mentally more than anything, to get having played in them and felt that kind of mental fatigue when you go into these league games. Then you're expected to win, and you're expected to produce a performance, and it's hard. And it's really good when you can score early, because then it gives you something to kind of get the fans off their seat and maybe bring that energy. And he play Falkirk, who've been brilliant, who are comfortably in the top 6, sitting 5 points clear. I mean, we've seen the game at their place before. They dominated the game and they had chances to win. But again, Martin O'Neill gets it over the line. You saw it in the Rangers game as well. There was a real lack of energy. But that's what Martin O'Neill does. He gets the victories and grinds them out. And before, Celtic would have struggled in that game.
Mark, I'm not saying they're running on empty, but he has addressed it. And you can tell the fact that he spoke about 2 players who are probably coming in shows you that he needed to give the fans some. Martin O'Neill wasn't going to say it yesterday if he didn't think they were coming in. So that was 2 of them yesterday, maybe another 2 today.
Yeah, I think the target is 4. I would imagine 99% over the line. Another 2. A lot of work have been going on in the last 24 hours. Maybe a midfielder to come in. But interesting what Martin O'Neill said there about playing Falkirk and these concerns in terms of energy levels. And he said, I certainly wouldn't want to play Hearts or Rangers yesterday, and Falkirk was probably the most difficult one after that. After they play Stuttgart in Germany, 3 days later, Celtic go to Ibrox. So that's why he's talking about the need for the squad, because you'll be able to retake, given what the score might be in the first leg, in terms of how you approach the second leg, bearing in mind if there's still things going on and you're still in the race, then you've got a game at Ibrox with Rangers would have a free week to prepare for that game. So that's the challenges, that's the downsides of still being involved in Europe. But let us say, whether you're the Celtic manager or a Celtic player, if that schedule daunts you in any way, then you shouldn't be at the football club. You should embrace it. Sit next to Charlie, he's been through it. Champions League nights, going into games and still trying to win titles. That's what it's all about.
No, you're in the right movie here. Don't go anywhere else, because you could win £500 with Scottish Gas in the next hour. Connor's on news today. Partick Thistle fan, what a finish for them the other night. Felt like a win, didn't it, up at St Johnstone, the draw. We'll talk about that and more after the news. Record in the last few minutes, it's broken, saying that Celtic in transfer talks with a Brentford defender, Benjamin Arthur. This is in the online at the moment. So a 20-year-old defender likely to join, if it happens, on loan until the end of the season. the record I've picked up from the Richmond and Twickenham Times, so not a paper or an outlet that I know. But I mean, you wouldn't be surprised. And Martin O'Neill, I think he needs someone else in defence. He's spoken about it over the weekend.
Yeah, they're looking for a central defender. Paul say Cameron Carter-Vickers is probably out for the season. They're maybe just looking for someone to come in. Don't know a lot about young Arthur, but there's been a lot of central defenders put to Celtic, so he must have something about them, and their research and their intel on him would suggest that he's got something to offer.
He played in a Carabao Cup win over Aston Villa, so he's been in the top team, Charlie, albeit limited.
Yeah, well, he must be a good player that's strong. And I imagine Martin O'Neill's looked at him, and if they're going to bring him in and can dominate the box, because there's Dane Murray there, why wouldn't you develop your own players? But the only reason you wouldn't do that is if you thought you could get somebody in that could really affect the starting 11 or definitely be a backup ready to go. So, yeah, you trust when Martin O'Neill comes to bringing players in. You've just got that trust with the type of player that he would bring in. So, look at him, just having a wee look at him here. Signed for Peterborough, and he's not played loads of games, but obviously got a good reputation. Played a lot with England youth teams.
Mark, Ian's on, a Motherwell fan, saying, please, can we have Stephen Welsh back? Because we've hardly seen him. He played in the Auchinleck game for Celtic. Martin O'Neill was asked yesterday, what's going to happen with the big defender? Is he going back to Fir Park?
That's a really good point, because Welsh has done very, very well at Motherwell. And in an ideal world, he would probably want to go back. And I don't really want to stop him when he's in a really good run there at this minute. So that might depend on us getting someone else in as cover. We have the 3 centre backs at this minute. And Welsh, he wants to play. Obviously, he'd like to play at Celtic. If I can't guarantee that for him, then he wants to play at Motherwell, where he's done exceptionally well. So, but if we don't get anybody else in, then that's the case of wanting to keep him here and then just battling for a place.
Mark, what's your view? What do you think?
Yeah, you can understand that Martin O'Neill would like to allow Welsh to go and play. He's shown over a few years now that he's got something in his locker. He's certainly shown in the last 5 months that he's enjoying himself at Motherwell. He's been an integral part of the fantastic story at Motherwell so far this season. The amount of clean sheets that they've had, another one on Saturday afternoon. But obviously you've got to put Celtic first ahead of the player. But if young Arthur is going to come in from Brentford, then I would imagine that would allow Stephen Welsh to go back to Motherwell, and I'm sure Stephen and every other Motherwell fan would be delighted. And maybe Celtic might insert a wee clause that says we'll take Maswanhise in the summer.
Yeah. Charlie?
Welsh, if he wants to play games, it's understandable. If Martin O'Neill can't guarantee him that yet, he's saying the reason he went on loan is probably to get game time that he probably needs. He spent a lot of time on the bench at Celtic, so yeah, Motherwell will be delighted with that. Celtic will benefit from getting the backup player in. Everybody's a winner.
Jackie's on, a Celtic fan. She's saying, Charlie, what do you want to see happen in the next 5 hours for Celtic? Where do you want them to strengthen? Taking the fact that it looks as though Adamu and Mvuka are coming in. What else do you want to see?
I would like to see a midfielder then, and a centre-back if that happens. I'd like to see another midfielder coming in. Adaku and Adamu obviously cover the wing in the sort of striker positions. And then another midfielder coming in. I'd love to see, I've already said that, a Scottish-based midfielder coming in.
Josh Mulligan.
I'd like to see that happen. He's injured now. I don't know if Hibs will sell.
How long's he out for? I don't like to ask when we haven't checked it. Is it a few weeks rather than... He's not out for months.
I don't think it's months. I think it's only a few weeks. But I'd like to see him. I think he's just the type of player that would do really well at Celtic.
Well, he would have been at Rangers if Barry Ferguson had been given the job. Mark, Josh Mulligan, could you see him coming to Celtic during this window?
I'd be surprised, Paul. I think purely from the point of view, if you have, just like we're talking about Motherwell with Maswanhise, you dig your heels in unless it's a crazy offer, and I mean a crazy offer. They have just sold Kieran Bowie for between 6 and 7 million pounds. They're still chasing a place in Europe. The fact that their big rivals' Hearts are top of the table puts even more pressure Hibs. I don't think it sends out the right signals to sell Bowie and Mulligan in this window.
Okay, here's some breaking news. Celtic have just tweeted out, or they've gone on social saying, we're delighted to announce the signing of the Austrian international player Junior Adamu. He joined the club on loan from Freiburg until the end of the season, subject to international clearance. So, Austrian internationalist Junior Adamu is in. Araujo came in right at the start in the Wilfred Nancy days. Charlie's starting to twitch when I mention Wilfred Nancy. So he did. Is he done all right for you, Araujo? Yeah, or Arauca? The player that came in, he has, hasn't he? He's been decent.
Yeah.
Yep. And obviously Kavanchara, who has got an assist last week and a goal yesterday, hit the post as well yesterday afternoon. So the Austrian internationalist Junior Adamu is now a Celtic player. We're just waiting to hear about the Lorient forward Joel Mvuka. Let's hear, Martinelli spoke yesterday about those two players and also about how you'd see them fitting into the squad.
All right. Well, the first thing I think we need Iheanacho, who's a very fine player and can hold the ball up. I think sometimes he's played very, very little, but he is. I think he can make an impact. He might not last the games and things like this. So we definitely need someone strong in there. I think Adamu can do that. I think there's a little bit of pace with a young lad from Lorient, and I think that So it'll give us a couple of options as much as anything else. The players, I think they deserve it. I think their efforts have been really, really big, and and I think you saw today for the number of games, there's just no respite for us, and as a consequence, players would naturally feel tired. So this will help supplement the squad, as I said, and there might be, hopefully, there's a possibility of other things happening between now and 11 o'clock, I believe.
So one down for sure, one other one just about over the line, and two to go. There's going to be a lot happening tonight. Ian, the Motherwell fan who was on, Mark, was saying, what about the Well? This is they're only 5 points behind Celtic and Rangers, 43 points after 24. Jens Bertel Askew, what a job he's doing. They've been under the radar, but everyone's saying, well, the best club in the country to watch at the moment, Mark. I mean, they could they catch Rangers or Celtic or both of them?
You genuinely couldn't rule them out, Paul. Like we say about Hearts, when you're in the mix after 24 games, you're not a flash in the pan. You're a proper team that needs to be taken seriously. Only conceded 17 goals in 24 games. And I'm sure we've had a lot of Motherwell fans at the start of the season were a wee bit concerned in terms of how open they would be, and they saw the way that Askew was wanting the goalkeeper to be 40 yards off his line and playing as a proper kind of sweeper. But to the amount of clean sheets that they've had and the open and expansive football, Maswanhise chipped in with the goals, Elliot Watt, a lot of admirers, Justin getting a lot of admirers, Fadinger, a lot of admirers. They've built a really good squad there, and you don't want to put a dampener on it, Paul, but what you tend to find when that happens, it will only last so long. It might only last this season, and then your 3 or 4 best players, they come and get cherry picked. Your manager, there is no doubt that Askew is going to be at the forefront of several clubs this summer in terms of him being on the radar to be the next manager, and hopefully Motherwell will be well compensated if that comes to pass. But right now, enjoy it, because it's been brilliant, and I would say absolutely, Paul, Motherwell will finish in at least 4th position, and that's going to give them a crack at European football again.
Charlie?
I think they've conceded 2 goals in the last 13 games. I mean, people associate possession-based teams to being wide open, but he's got some details within that they're very close together when they pass the ball, especially in the midfield area, the 2 centre-backs and the 2 midfielders in front. So they're very good with the short passes, harder to press, and also better to guard against the counter-attack. Askew has done an unbelievable job. The amount of managers or coaches I've heard say in the past that, we can't play because we don't have the budget, or we can't play that type of football because we don't have the players. He's come in and he's used that budget and had a group of players there that are playing some unbelievable stuff. I've said it before, I've never seen a team outside Celtic and Rangers dominate games like they're dominating. and it's making the players within that shine.
Daz is asking, could he be a future Celtic manager? Charlie, could you see him? Could Celtic move in for next season?
100%. It's early in his managerial career, but I don't think there's any reason why not. He could come in and do a really good job. I mean, yeah, I think he could be.
Mark, what do you reckon?
Well, I think if Celtic win the league, I think Martin O'Neill would be offered the job. Whether he wants it or not, I don't know, Paul, longer term. But considering what Askew has achieved and the way he's caught the eye after only 6 months in Scottish football, like I said, if Celtic are going to go through a short list and look at things, I think the days of you look at Celtic 5 years ago, they're going for Eddie Howe. I think the days of that, they brought back Brendan Rodgers. I think the days of that are gone. Celtic targeting big name managers, albeit I know they've brought back Martin O'Neill. So I think very much the model moving forward, you could see Askew kind of fitting into that kind of model and that thought process for the next couple of years.
I don't know why I don't know if they've tried or no, but I don't know why Aberdeen aren't going all out to get him. I'm not saying Bert Askew would go there, but I'm saying Motherwell managers have went to Aberdeen in the past, so why not throw everything at it and try and get him? Listen, I don't know if they've tried, but and I don't think he would go, but it'd be worth a go.
Because you've been at Aberdeen.
It's a big club, and I mean, I don't know how they would react to that short passing for the back, for the 6-yard box. That would be a bit more difficult and a pressurised place to play that type of football. But listen, I think he would be brilliant for Aberdeen as well. But I don't know if he would make that move, and then I don't know if Motherwell would be willing to let him go at the moment.
He takes his team to Dundee on Wednesday night. Do you think Stephen Welsh will be back in a Motherwell jersey by then, Mark? Yes.
Yes, I think we'll be back at Motherwell tonight.
Charlie?
Yeah, agree.
Okay. 08 17 17 700. Don't go anywhere because you could be winning £500 or $250. I'll explain it to you maybe just before the break how this exciting quiz is going to work, and it is. It's brilliant. We're going to test the knowledge of Charlie Mulgrew and Mark Guidi. They don't know what it is yet, and they'll give multiple answers, and it's up to whoever gets through to say, I want it to be Charlie, because I think his guess is right. If he says, I can get 5 of them, and Mark says, I can get 7, fact, I'll tell you about it shortly, not straight away. What about Livvy? It's looking really, really, I mean, they've got to start thinking probably about next season. But Charlie, you heard the news yesterday that David Martindale goes upstairs, sporting director, and it's Marvin Bartley.
Well, they've not won a game for August, Paul, so I think any other manager would have been away a long time ago. I think I assumed, I don't know about everybody else, but I get the feeling that Martin would have to have sacked himself. I feel that he's got a big say in the club. It's not been good enough this season, and he steps away. I'm not surprised at that. And then Marvin Bartley steps in. Wee bit surprised at that. He steps straight in. But they may be planning for next year already. I can't see Livingston staying up, although it's only 6 points. But I just don't think, as I say, the last game they won was in August. They don't look like scoring goals, and they concede for fun. So they might find themselves in a bit of trouble. In fact, they're in trouble. I think they'll go down.
Mark, is it rearranging the deck chairs, or can you see a path there that Davy moves upstairs and Marvin, who's in the dressing room already as a coach, can take over? Yeah,
he's been in and out of Livingston a number of times, Marvin Bartley. The thing that I've been cheated, Brian Rice get moved upstairs in the summer from being Davy Martindale's right-hand man, assistant head coach, to being, I don't know what title they gave Brian, sporting director of football, whatever it may be. So I'm not quite sure how that works. So I'm interested to see what the structure is. But ultimately, it doesn't look good. 1 out of 24, 15 defeats. But they are only 6 points behind. If we're talking about we're having a title race when Hearts are 6 points ahead, then we've got a relegation race. But what a terrific result it was for Kilmarnock at the weekend when they totally dismantled Aberdeen, a very, very poor Aberdeen team. It has to be said. That was a shocking performance from Aberdeen. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it shapes up for Livingston. But I'd agree with Charlie. I think they're going to finish in bottom place and go straight down.
Brad Lyons with a header. Bruce Anderson scoring against his old club. And then John Jules, 3-0 for Kelly. Kellerus would have enjoyed the day as well. Charlie, were you surprised that... In fact, Kelly... They were desperate for that kind of win.
I was surprised. I was surprised though, because Aberdeen got a good victory. Their last game, scored goals. And again, Kilmarnock have kind of a lot of the same problems as Livingston in terms of scoring goals and then keeping them out the other end. I've had problems with their goalkeeper, so I didn't fancy them at all. But one thing you know about Neil McCann and Billy Dodd is they'll have them well prepared with a good game plan, and the more you do that, the more you give yourself a chance. And clearly they've went and done that and scored goals at the right time.
I tell you what, wee Bruce Anderson's a terrific wee striker.
Yeah.
You know, you look at a youngster at Aberdeen was terrific at Livvy for 2 or 3 seasons, then in at Kilmarnock. I mean, never really grabs headlines, but what an important, a great wee Scottish number 9, Bruce Anderson.
Nightmare to play against, by the way.
Is he? Yeah.
Oh,
Why is he?
doesn't stop, bangs into you when you play your pass, steps on your toes. He's not the biggest, but when he'll put his body into challenge for long balls. He's a
real pest.
He's making the most of his ability. He's a pest.
What about Graham Shinney? So experienced, club captain, got the second booking, or was it a straight red? I'm not sure, but it was
Straight red.
Yeah, it was straight red, wasn't it, Mark? It's a bit.
Yeah, but do you know what the biggest
Tell
telltale
me.
for me with that one, Paul, was the way through the captain's armband.
Yeah.
You know, listen, players can all make rash challenges, get straight reds, heat of the moment stuff. I get that, but did that just signal to me what's going on behind the scenes? That's for me something your captain shouldn't be doing in terms of treating the armband that way.
Tom was on Friday from Bishop Briggs, great caller, but Tom, you didn't win the £1,000 because you were going for Aberdeen on that one, so that knocked it out for you. You went for Motherwell. St Mirren Dundee, I've got your scorecard here as well, but it ended up 0-0. Jake Young, red card. Any thoughts on that? Or
Do you know, I thought it was a wee bit harsh. I have to be honest. I didn't think that was that's a red.
I did look at it a couple of times, Mark.
Intervened. Nick Walsh was the referee, I think. I thought that could have been a yellow card.
Are they getting a bit too busy?
I had to watch it about 20 times to see where the contact was, and when you need to do that, then it's probably only a booking at most.
I was trying to work out which team it was that got the, where was the offence?
Yeah.
All right, okay, there wasn't much to see. But it was no goals. So, Tom, you'd gone St Mirren, and my goodness, they would have loved a win there, but they didn't get it. And Dundee United Hearts, you went for a draw, but it wasn't to be. Charlie, I know you've said it, but you're going for a drink with the Hearts fans in Gorgie Road if they win the title.
I've agreed to that, aye.
Big win for them, wasn't it? Cabore, Kisaridis, the penalty,
I'll
and
be honest
Cabore
with you, I
again.
thought Dundee United needed a result, and I thought they might have got a result on that pitch at Paradise. They might have nicked a 0-0 or a draw, but Hearts were good and deserved the sending off's a bit harsh for me.
What, the second one?
The first one. It's he's went for the ball, stepped in his ankle, not a lot of force for me. Listen, I can understand it in the rules of the game a wee bit, but I wouldn't have gave it as a sending off.
Do you think when they replay it every time, and if you freeze it, which they do, well, it's going to look terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, is it endangering an opponent? And then they keep looking, and of course it looks bad, but he's dangled his leg in for the ball. He stood on his top of his foot. I think the reaction for the Hearts players no help the boy's case, because it looks like it's a badge, and the referee looks at it, then goes and looks and thinks, he's done him bad there. I don't actually think bad a tackle. It looked worse, but there wasn't a lot of force.
Mark, any view on that? And what about the Kamara red card?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, what referees always say they want to do is keep 11 players on the pitch. And something we've just been debating there, the St Mirren one for Young. I don't think it could easily have been a yellow. I don't think there would have been any uproar had it just been a yellow card. And I agree with the first one for Fatty at Dundee United. I don't think that needed to be a red. I thought the conduct of Mark Leonard, the Hearts midfielder, in terms of how he went down and how he stayed down, rolling about, holding his face. I just don't like to see that with fellow professionals. I've had this debate with Fraser Wishart many times as head of the PFA. Why don't the PFA in Scotland be trailblazers and get all football players together? That says, you know what, we're going to try and win, but we're not going to try and cheat each other. We're not going to overdo it. And I think for me, it just doesn't sit well when you behave that way with an ex with a fellow professional. It just, for me, Matt Leonard, I get disappointed when I see conduct like that.
That's a great point. Would you agree, Charlie?
100%. The only way they would stamp it out is by punishing people instantly. And
Yeah, not just that. I'm talking about the diving, the blatant diving.
sure.
Okay, sometimes there's contact, okay, but the blatant diving, and yet all the PFA, they all get together and they go, "Oh, hold on, what are you trying to do? Is just constantly cheat each other on a Saturday afternoon, you know?"
Stop it, for sure. The other games we've spoken about: Hibs 0, Rangers 0, and Celtic winning 2-0 against Falkirk. And we're back into it tomorrow night. St Mirren against the table toppers Hearts, and if they win, they've only got 13 games between them and the title. And then Wednesday night, Dundee Motherwell, Hibs, Dundee United. Dundee United will be without 2 players because of the orderings off. Livvy against Falkirk, Rangers at home to Kilmarnock, and Aberdeen against Celtic. The game's on Sky. Quick break, and then someone is going to win either £250 or £500. Guys, are you ready to? I'm going to ask you a question after the break. You standing by?
yes, let's go.
That's coming after this. We're cooking with Scottish Gas. Pick Your Pundit, the new competition here on the Go Radio Football Show, giving you the chance to win up to £500. On the line, welcoming for the first time, James from Irvine. James, good evening.
Good evening, guys. How you doing?
All right,
Good,
James.
I think I know your voice. James, you are a Dinamo Bucharest fan because you're the brother of Daniel Armstrong.
Yes,
We're
yes,
right.
that's true.
I've spoken
Aye.
before on here.
Yep. You played against Danny many times.
Yes, I have. Aye,
Yep.
aye. How's he getting on?
He's doing all right. He scored at the weekend. I think it was a draw, so I think they're second in the league now and hoping to maybe get a league title. That'd be nice.
Brilliant. A hat-trick in the derby, didn't he, earlier in the season?
Yeah, I wish it was at that game. That'd have been some party.
Ah, jeez, oh man,
It
must
would
be a
have been-
hero over there.
Have you been over to see him?
No, not yet. Too busy working.
All right. What do you do?
I'm an accountant, so
Okay,
at the
great.
desk all day.
Oh, great. You can help me with the figures here to count up these. Right, we're going to go straight into it, James. Right, here's how it's going to work. I have a question here for the pundits. So Charlie Mulgrew and Mark Guidi. And you've got the power. You decide which one you want to answer. That's simply it. I'm going to give them a question. The pundit that says they can answer the highest number is worth £500 and the lower number is worth £250. So obviously, the higher, then there's more risk that they don't achieve the number that they promise to get or they think they'll get. If it's the higher number, they get £500, or you do rather. The lower number, £250. Does that sound as clear as mud, or what do you think? Is that okay, James?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, the example was, how many Scottish Champions League winners can you name? If Mark said 7, Charlie says 5, you could choose which one you would want. Yeah? And then we go with whatever you want. So I'm going to tell you tonight's question, okay? The Pick Your Pundit question with Scottish Gas. We are asking the guys, I actually asked them during the break, given that it's night 1. Since the 1990-91 season, how many players can you name that finished top scorer in the top flight here in Scottish football? So who was the top scorer in Scotland? How many can you name in the, 35 years from 1990? So, Mark, how many do you think you could get right?
10.
10. Charlie?
I'd be confident with 8.
8. Okay, so if you go with Charlie and you trust him to get 8, and he gets 8 of them, and look, if he gets some of them wrong, it's fine. We're trying to get the 8. We want to help him and you. You'd get 250. Or if Mark can get the 10, you'll get £500. So, James, it's over to you.
I'm trusting Mark.
Really?
Good man, James.
Yeah,
We'll
indeed.
get wired in.
Absolutely. Of course, the
He
former...
sounded confident.
He does, doesn't he? He's actually really good, Charlie, isn't he? On,
Yeah.
you know, the memory and all that. He always comes out, yeah,
Aye, I
Barry.
would go
Yeah.
with Mark if I was you as well.
I would go with him rather than me, and I've got the answers here. All right, so Mark, so you need to get 10 right here. Top scorers in Scotland from 1990. So that's season 1991. Yep, give me names. Yep.
I'll
Okay,
go.
just give me.
I'll go obvious ones. We'll go back as far as I
Okay.
can think. Like Ali McCoist.
Okay, 1.
Let's
Okay.
go Mark Hateley.
2.
Let's run a Celtic player. Henrik Larsson.
Henrik Larsson. 3.
I'll go another Celtic player. Lee Griffiths.
Lee Griffiths. And can I just tell you something? I'm going to pause here, but you're absolutely right. Lee Griffiths is in there as well. If somebody won it 2 seasons or that, it just counts as 1. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 so far.
Okay.
James, keep me right as an accountant.
I'll go back to Rangers. Chris Boyd.
Chris Boyd, indeed. Whatever happened to him? So it's obviously on Sky. Is he playing sevens with you? Yeah.
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
No,
Okay.
on Sky tonight,
Chris
I think.
Boyd is correct.
Okay, I've got a couple of gambles now.
Okay.
Old firms. I know they scored a lot of goals. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if they were top scorers, but I'm going to go Mark Viduka.
Do you think so? He was Marco.
I'm not sure.
He was
Yeah.
Marco, and
Yeah.
then became Mark. Then he went down Leeds United, wasn't it, Charlie? You remember him, Mark Viduka?
That's right, aye.
Yeah.
Good player.
Did
Yeah,
you ever
good
play
player.
alongside? I know you'd be very young. Was that
No,
no, you were
when he was
really
there.
young.
98, he was there.
Okay. Mark Viduka is there, so you're right.
Right,
So that's
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'll
Just
go
4
another
to
Marco.
get.
I'll go another Marco.
Uh-huh.
Other side of the city. Negri.
How many did he score in one game? I think it was
Five.
5 Dundee United.
against the, was that the match?
I remember
I
it.
remember
5.
it. Okay. Correct. So,
Negri's in there. Okay. I'll come away from the old firm
well done.
for my next two,
I don't know why I said that. But.
and I'll go Lon Shankland.
Lon Shankland. Correct. Top scorer in 2024. Yeah, I should have been given it all that, shouldn't I? A bit like, yeah.
Okay, and I'll go away
Yep.
from the old firm again, and I'll go a former Motherwell player, Michael Higdon.
What, as player of the top scorer in Scotland?
Yes.
Michael Higdon. You're absolutely right. Well done. So when was that?
How
Do you know
many's that?
roughly? 1,
Michael
2,
Higdon, I
3,
think, was
4,
maybe
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
2012, 11,
Nine.
12,
Yeah.
2011,
12 he was.
Wow,
Yeah.
well done.
Year after. Yeah.
James, at this point, I need to ask you. He's 9 out of 10, so looks as though you're well on the way.
Right.
What are you going to do with the £500?
I'll buy Mark a few pints.
Yeah, it's champagne for him. Honestly, see the
Yeah.
Christmas night out. We're still trying to settle the bill.
You know me well.
Yeah.
Okay, I tell you, I'll go one here. My big pal, John Hartson.
John Hartson, of course, the legend who's joined us here so many times. Correct.
That's me get 10.
That's it. You get 10 out of 10. So you said Alan
Oh.
McCoy, Mark Haitley, Marco Negri, Henrik Larsson, Mark Viduka, John Hartson, Chris Boyd, Michael Higdon, Lee Griffiths, and Lawrence Shankland. Wow.
Nice.
Charlie, did you have all those names, or you must
No,
have a few?
I did.
Yeah,
Who,
I know.
that
but
MD
yeah.
different there. I had Kyogo,
Uh-huh.
Dembele, Commons.
Chris Commons, yeah.
That was really ones
yeah.
that I did
Okay.
that were different to Mark.
I'll tell you the other ones here. Pierre Van Hooijdonk, Georges Cadetti, Scott McDonald, Kenny Miller, Gary Hooper, Chris Commons, you were absolutely right, Adam Rooney, Liam Boyce, Alfredo Morelos,
Boys, yeah.
Nice.
Odson Edouard, who shared it with Reagan Charles Cook not that many years ago. Is that 4 or 5 years ago? Georgios Giacomakis.
Wow,
Yeah, there you are. There's someone you've kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
And he was
Could be doing with him now,
Yeah,
couldn't it?
absolutely.
Could say,
Kyogo and him. It was Kyogo the next year, Lon Shankland, and Cyril Dessers last year. James,
course,
I mean, he was so heavily criticised, wasn't he, Cyril Dessers? Nice one, Cyril. Ended up a top scorer. So, James, congratulations. You're getting £500
Well
from
done,
Scottish
James.
Gas.
500 quid.
Nice,
Brilliant.
James.
Give my regards to Danny.
Brilliant.
How much you giving
Oh, no,
Mark?
no,
No,
I appreciate it. I've got
You
an
get
MOT
back,
tomorrow, so that'll cover
That'll
that.
help,
Ah,
yeah.
class, mate.
Brilliant.
Are you in an accountancy firm or?
No, I work up in the Gorbals for City.
Oh, right, oh, right. You work in the Gorbals. Great place here,
Yes.
so close to the city. And what about this season? It's a season like no other, isn't it? Hearts, followed by Celtic and Rangers.
Do you know, it's I think a lot of guys would want Hearts to win just to see the breakup, but if they can do it, I guess obviously Derek being manager of Daniel before, it's quite interesting, so hopefully they can do it.
Yeah, Danny was much loved, and people are always saying get him in the Scotland team, Charlie, because he was a tricky winger, he's a really
I
good
think
player.
he could improve Hearts' team now.
Yeah.
A right winger.
Aye.
He could definitely do a job.
Wow.
I thought he was going to Hearts, James. I thought it was a cert. Was he not linked with Hearts for quite a few months?
Oh,
when he
I
was
can't
at Killie?
reveal that.
Oh,
I can't
James,
reveal
come
that.
on.
Come on, James.
I haven't signed the check yet, James. I cannot be bought, but no, listen, he's some player, isn't he? And Killie, having done so well last season, it would have been a tragedy if they were to be going down. But what about that win at the weekend?
Yeah, I was 3-0, 2-0 at half time.
Yeah.
Do you know what? They need the first win since October,
That's
so
it. Yeah.
I guess they just need to keep going. I like Killie. I've got a soft spot for them, so hopefully they stay up, but I don't see them going down, to be honest.
No. And Scotland, the World Cup, are you going to be going to America?
No.
Nope.
I think that's a bit out of my price range for the time being.
Charlie,
It's expensive, isn't it? What
sure
an
is,
expensive
yeah.
trip.
listen, who's going to win the title then? Who do you reckon?
I think Hearts will do it. I think they'll do it.
Yeah, okay. James, thanks so much for joining us. Give Danny all our very best from all of us here at the Go Radio Football Show.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the 500.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy it, James.
Great pleasure.
Bye-bye.
We'll pay that up weekly. An accountant. Good terms, I think we'll do, Charlie. You're not away just yet. We're looking any change in the last few minutes. I see that loan deal from Brentford, Sky are on that as well. Junior Adamu, he's been speaking, I think, as well in the last few moments. So we gave that news. Celtic tweeted out a wee while ago. Any word yet from Rangers? Nothing yet. Sky have been reporting that Celtic are close to agreeing a loan deal for the Brentford centre-back Benjamin Arter. So, Mark, you did say 4 signings for Celtic today?
Yeah.
That would be one more to go.
Yeah.
Midfielder, maybe?
Could be a midfielder and maybe a couple to go. I would imagine with the 2 strikers coming in the forward area, players obviously Shin Yamada is away on loan already, and Johnny Kenny, Bolton, QPR. And that could be a straight sale, and maybe, as I say, maybe one midfielder might go from Celtic if they can get another midfielder in. But I don't think it's going to be Arie Engels now. Paul, Celtic have resisted the big money, but we'll wait and see.
See, at this point, though, if you're chairman or the owner of the club, there's no one owner, but you'd be sitting down saying, "Come on, 25 million on the table for Arie Engels." And people were beating Brendan Rodgers over the head with this. Oh, look at Arie Engels. Look at Austin Trusty. Look at Adamu.
I was one of them. I thought 11 million quid was a lot of money for a midfielder, and he wasn't playing under Brendan Rodgers. Remember, he was sat on the bench. There was 25 million worth of talent sat on the bench at one point.
Yep.
Then you get the bid for that. So you get a bid like that. It just shows that there's value in young players from Belgium that obviously he's got ability.
Of course, like Raskin at Rangers, but he played a lot last season. The whole thing, it's a chapter in a book at least, Mark, isn't it? When there was all this briefing going out, I don't know where it was coming from, that in Celtic, they should have won a treble. They didn't, but they shot themselves in the foot in the final. And maybe the signs were there, but they'd gone further in Europe than they had in a long, long time. We know the story, minutes away from going further against the crack team in Germany. It didn't happen. And then the players that had been part of that were being kind of criticised. You know, it's the soft politics that was going out there. And Brendan Rodgers, who's not blameless, but it all went wrong. I think my point is, and there's 25 million today for one of those players, Arie Engels.
Paul, the bottom line was there was a bit of a smear campaign going on against Brendan Rodgers from various factors to undermine him, to try and find holes in what he did. At Celtic, so he couldn't be pulled up. And by the way, I'm talking about one or two internally. He couldn't be pulled up in terms of what he had delivered in trophies, getting out of the European group into the playoff last season and the Champions League. And all those guys contributed. Charlie will tell you, when speaking about the workload, it's not about the first 11. You buy a squad, you build a squad. You will only achieve something by building a squad. You're not going to get buying 11 players if you want to become a champion or you want to do well in Europe. So the fact that people wanted to have a go at him in terms of his transfer record, well, there you go. There's a classic example. Celtic could have, and may well yet, I don't think they are, but they could have doubled their money on Arie Engels in 18 months. Doubled their money to become one of Celtic's highest selling players, but they've resisted it. But like I say, Paul, I think they'll get that money from him all day long in the summer anyway. So just say, it's not like he's got 6 months to go. He's got 2.5 years to go. They'll still get 20 million for him comfortably in the summer.
Charlie?
Yeah, it's crazy the money that's getting flying about recently. I mean, if he'd been Scottish, Arie Engels, would that bid have come in? Like if he gets signed for 11 million or whatever million, and then would somebody then? It seems to be if you're Belgian or one of these nations, it's and you're young, you're a lot more highly valued. Obviously, Bowie going for that 7 million is a surprise for me as well. It's a lot of money. Hibs had to take that because I don't know if they would have got offered that again. But listen, Engels, I just had a wee look there. Engels was part of that team. I would have thought he wasn't part of that team for some reason. But he was. He was part of that team playing at Bayern Munich. So. Yeah, but he did. Then at the start of this year, though, he wasn't playing, was he?
No, he wasn't.
He was sat on the bench a lot.
And Trusty, I think Trusty had an injury, but he didn't come back in then.
Yeah.
You're right. What do you think? Transfer deadline closes tonight at 11 o'clock. We're keeping you right up to date here on Go.
The Go Radio.
Transfer deadline. Charlie will tell us exactly how many minutes to go before he's jumping in the car and heading home. Charlie, feeling good tonight? Transfer deadline day?
Yeah, it's always exciting, isn't it?
Aye,
Looking forward
yeah.
to getting home and seeing the last. There's always a few good ones at the last minute.
Yes. What's it going to be at Rangers Naderi? It looks as though it's happening. The medical, we haven't heard yet, but I would imagine we will tonight. Anyone else at Rangers do we think might be coming in? Anyone going out as well? Danilo, Mark, you mentioned earlier on you'd expect him to go.
Yeah, he's been in Holland, so there's a bit of interest over there. Rothwell, bit of interest in him today. Young Finlay Curtis away to Kilmarnock. That happened on Friday night. He was on the bench. Saturday's win against Aberdeen. Barami, I just wondered about Barami.
Got game time yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's just he doesn't do it for me, to be honest. So yeah, there's maybe 4 or 5 that could go out, free up some wages. You might get a fee for 1 or 2 of them as well. And then Celtic, we know about the ones that are coming in. 1 or 2 more to come in, and I think maybe 1 or 2 going out the door. So I think we'll still see a bit of traction at Celtic and Rangers between now and 11 o'clock tonight.
Charlie, what did you think of Barami? He's got a lot of talent, but we just didn't see it consistently.
Nah, I think he's enough chances at Rangers. I think he probably needs to move on now. Rangers bringing players in. Danny Röhl's bringing his own sort of stamp of players in and what he sees, and I don't think he's going to be in the plans moving forward. Again, does not offer enough when he comes on. Not any worse than the first half, the players that were playing, but just didn't he offer enough in the final third, and he's had a long time at Rangers. There comes a point where you think, right, it's maybe best to try something different.
Rangers fans expect a lot of Skov Olsen. Didn't see too much of him yesterday. This is the manager.
Yeah, step by step. I think this is general the part in January. When you take players, you have to bring them into. You have not really time. Then he was available today, but not in the European League. It would also helpful for him. But I see he's come better and better. He will be physical ready more and more, and I'm very positive.
Darren's on, a Rangers fan, saying not good enough yesterday. We should have gone to Hibs and we should have won because they are so inconsistent. But Danny Röhl said afterwards still about the race, this could go all the way.
Yeah, they dropped last week 2 points. I'm general. How can I describe it? I think there's 14 games to go. When you asked me 10 weeks ago, we are on the 1st of February in this position, I would take it. We have to be consistently, and this is the next job on Wednesday, to take the next points. I'm totally convinced that this race goes until the end, not until match day 28. It goes until 38, and we have to be there. It's not a question about today, it's about after the season and the last match day.
Mark is counting down quickly this season though.
Yeah, but Paul, we're deep into it. That said, I do agree with Danny Röhl. 42 points to play for. It's a lot. There's 14 games to go. Like I say, I think Celtic, on paper, I think they've got, the next kind of 3 league games or so, they'll be quite happy about in terms of, how that comes up. Going to Aberdeen on Wednesday night, kicking that off. Hearts have got an Edinburgh derby coming up. They've got Ibrox to go to. Then, of course, Celtic have got Ibrox to go to in the space of the next 4 weeks. So after sort of game 28, 29, we will have a much clearer picture of where we are. But I do agree. I think this is going to the wire. And right now, I would have Hearts as favourites.
Right. Charlie, I'm not asking you to change it just now. You've said Celtic, so I think you're sticking with Celtic.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, I think when this window gets out of the way, I think you'll see a much better Celtic squad, and I think they'll pick up the results required. The split's going to be really interesting. That's where I think we've looked the whole season at benchmarks and when things will be kind of look clearer. I just think that by the time the split comes, teams will begin to see the finish line, and it's going to be a big few games coming up. I think Motherwell will have a big say in games. They're going to have a big say. Don't fancy going to Fir Park and playing there for a title and a title run in. They'll have a big say in this. So some good games coming up. The split's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, some games that might have been described as gimmies in the past are not that anymore.
No.
Falkirk, for example, well, they were 2 divisions down, less than 2 years ago. Arie Engels, Forest have been in twice or 3 times today. Apparently the latest one was 20 million plus 5 million add-ons. Celtic say no. Martin O'Neill was asked about it yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I didn't hear that, and but I would, no question about it. I don't. There's 1 or 2 of the lads here who have not played much football, and I can understand frustrations of that there. I know that, and if we can get some people in, I don't mind some players maybe going on loan or something like this who haven't played and desperately want to play. And it's all right having a cause here like anything else, but if you're not playing, there's a natural frustration for it. So we'll see what develops in that. But obviously I'm not talking about Arie, I'm just talking in general. But if nothing does develop over the next 24 hours, then I really would rather keep the players, because we will need them. They might not see that at this minute, but if we stay in competitions, if we do, and that's a big if, then we will need them.
Sounds, Charlie, as though Engels is going nowhere at the moment.
Yeah, and look back to Martin O'Neill's team back in the day when he first came in. He always had a good squad, and he liked to have numbers in his squad, so he'll know what to get rid of Engels. He'll want to be there. He's starting in every game, so he must see him as the best midfield option in that midfield 3. So definitely ahead of Hitati. So it looks like it won't. But then everybody's got their price. What if Forest come with that money down south and say 30 million the last hour?
That's right.
That'll be a difficult one.
Mark, because Celtic no Champions League this season, that was 40 million. They'll get, 15, 16, 17 million from the Europa League. So let's see what happens. A few people have been on saying, can we mention the Championship? What a result. I mean, St Johnstone were doing so well. Thought they were maybe going to come in at 2-1. Late goal, 2-2. Pleased for Mark Wilson.
Yeah, very pleased for Mark and Alec Ray. Good result for the Glasgow club. Obviously, St Johnstone were disappointed that they didn't hold on. I think probably over the piece a draw would suit teams. I still expect St Johnstone to win that title, but you look at it there, Dunfermline losing after having a couple of great results, Ayr United getting back into it after a couple of bad results. So it's a terrific league. It really is. It's really enjoyable, the Championship. Yeah,
it was a big win for Ayr United, 2-1 against Wraith Rovers. And what about Queen's Park, 2-1 against Arbroath, and a good win for the Ton against Ross County. Charlie, what are you thinking? Aberdeen Celtic, 2 of your old clubs. It's going to be some game Wednesday night. Who do you fancy?
Another hard game. I said Rangers. I didn't fancy Rangers going up there, but we're up there and get the job done. But it wasn't easy. Scored 2 set pieces. I imagine it'll be another similar game to Celtic Falkirk. Celtic hopefully can grind out some sort of result, but it's a hard place to go, especially since their last result was a bad defeat against Kilmarnock, so they'll be looking for a response. And again, Celtic need to go up there and roll their sleeves up, and that's the games you need to go and win if you want to be champions.
Do you think they will?
I think they will narrowly win that game.
Mark, Aberdeen obviously without their captain, Graham Shinnie.
No, I have to be honest, Paul, I think right now Pittodrie is one of the venues that you wouldn't mind going to. So I think Celtic will win a comfortable 1-0 Celtic.
That would put Celtic on to 51 points. What about Rangers, do you reckon, against Killie, Mark?
Yeah, obviously Killie will be buoyed by that 3-goal victory. But, I would expect Rangers to get back to winning ways. If they've got aspirations to become champions, you definitely need to be winning this kind of fixture at home, Paul. So I'll go 2-0 Rangers.
Charlie, for Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, do you think they'll go in the right dressing room on the way in? Because they're so used to getting in the other one last season.
Yeah, they'll be eager to get some sort of result and put on a good performance, and they'll be putting a lot of thought into that game. I can see Rangers narrowly winning that one as well.
Finlay Curtis, of course, will have to see it out. Livvy against Falkirk, Charlie?
Can't see past Falkirk. They're used to the Astro pitch, so yeah, I think Falkirk will win that comfortably.
Hibs Dundee United, Mark?
Hibs, one each.
One each. And Dundee against Motherwell, Charlie?
Stephen Presley's doing a good job, but Motherwell went up there at the start of the season, dominated the game, ended up drawing it one each. But I think that Motherwell will be they'll have half an eye trying to catch the teams above them, Celtic and Rangers and Hearts. So I think they'll get the result.
I see Graham Potter was watching Celtic yesterday, so keeping an eye on Negrin. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on Negrin. Obviously, I thought Celtic's second goal yesterday was terrific. Paul, the build-up play, Callum McGregor involved. Obviously, Graham Potter said Billy Reid by his side, the Scotsman, so he'll be keeping them up to date as well. But Negrin will certainly have caught the eye.
So Rangers, we mentioned for tomorrow night, you're going for them. You're going for Celtic, so they would both go on to 51 points. What about St Mirren Hearts? We mentioned it earlier. Mark, you first. What do you reckon at the new Love Street, Miser?
Yeah, well, St Mirren, to be honest, I've struggled this season, Paul. Only 4 wins in the league, certainly. Obviously, they've won the Cup, but only 4 wins out of 23. I thought they were very, very unlucky to be down to 10 men. They get a 0-0 draw, so certainly they've a bit of confidence about getting the clean sheet. Hearts, getting a really good result, digging in, going away from home. Okay, circumstances went with them in terms of the red cards, but you've still got to go and win the game. And Hearts showing a real bit of belief. They've got the mark of champions at the moment. I'm going to go Hearts to win 2-1.
Charlie?
Yeah, I fancy Hearts. A few months ago, I'd have fancied St Mirren the way they were playing, especially before the cup final or just after. But Hearts can grind wins out, and St Mirren just look low in confidence just now, so I think Hearts will win that 2-0.
Thanks so much, guys. This time tomorrow night, Peter Grant will be here along with Jamie Murphy. The window will be shut. We'll give everyone the latest tomorrow evening. Thank you, Charlie. See you soon. You too, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Paul.
The Go